Hello, welcome to TransforMATTIve. My name is Matti McLean, and I am with Christina Andrea today. What is your actual professional name? Because just so I make sure I get it right.
Yeah, it is Christina Andrea. So there's an accent somewhere in between the A and the E. Haven't quite figured that out yet, but it's Andrea.
Andrea, like the character from Reboot.
Yes.
Delightful. One of my favorite shows growing up. So I will remember that forever.
Ah, sounds good. Yes. And you
Uh,
are Maddie?
I'm Matti McLean. Yes. Where are you from, Christina?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. Yeah, I never left.
That's great though.
Thank
Normally,
you.
when people are from a bigger city, I always ask, just like, where are you from? And they're just like, oh, Indiana. And just like, okay.
Yep. I definitely have noticed that a lot recently too. Like, hey, you from the city? And they're like, no, I'm from Massachusetts. So, but it's nice to see people from different parts of the country coming into the city because it's a big city.
It is a big city. Beautiful city. Incredible
Mhm.
city. I can't wait to be back in the city, but that's at least a week away, so we're good.
Where are you now?
I am a Torontonian by
Oh,
trade. I'm actually from Northern Ontario, from a small town called North Bay. No one's heard of North Bay though, so I tell everyone it's just like, "Oh, I'm from Toronto." It's just easier that way, but thorough Canadian trying to get my work out there in as many different places and ways as I can.
as you should.
Well, we you volunteered to be a part of this transformative project,
Yes,
and as such, we wrote a monologue for you called Dandelion.
yes.
How are you feeling about the monologue coming into it?
So when I was reading the monologue, I fell in love with it instantly because I very much reminisce with the monologue about being an outcast or just somebody who people wouldn't expect to surprise them, or someone who's always standing in the corner and also just has a loud mouth, but no one would know. I kind of thought of almost like Lady Agatha from Bridgerton, how her husband's really loud, but no one really hears her until he passes away. And then all of a sudden, there's this character that comes out of nowhere. So I kind
Spoilers
of
for
thought about
Bridgerton,
her.
I guess, by the way.
Huh?
Spoilers for Bridgerton, by the way.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I
It,
I've never seen it. I to be honest, I don't really have any intention of watching it, but I understand that people love it. One of our other actors named Caitlin is obsessed with it as well, and I wrote her
yes.
a monologue specifically dealing with Bridgerton, so hopefully that's one you can enjoy with. But
Oh, yes. I'm excited. Caitlin, I believe was in A Midsummer Night's Dream with me. If we're talking about the same Caitlin. Yes. So yes, Caitlin, I love her. She's amazing. So
yes,
excited that she's a part of this part as well.
it's lovely to see the connections that have already formed. So
Mhm.
I love to see it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, do you have any questions about the monologue before we begin, or
Um, the only question that I had thus far was um the weed like the very beginning.
Mhm.
I just was it talking about like weed as in like weed from the ground or like weed as in the plant marijuana weed?
I meant it as plant from the ground. If you think there's value in interpreting the other way, we can explore that. But I feel like it's the weed as in marijuana doesn't. I don't think it quite goes with the message of the piece, but
Yeah.
we can try stuff out. We can see what happens, and you never know. Maybe something interesting will happen.
Yeah, of course. Sounds good. I just wanted to double check. I
Of
kind of
course.
got it was like weed from the ground, but I was like, let me just make sure.
Yeah. Totally fair to ask questions. I want everything to be clear and to make sense. So yeah. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna essentially be able to read the monologue. I will give you any notes I have, and then we can discuss afterwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, so feel free to take a moment, catch your breath, take your time, and whenever you're ready, feel free to take it away.
When people ask me what my favorite flowers are, I think my answer surprises them. People expect me to say a rose, a violet, an iris, not a weed. I did a flower horoscope once and they told me I was a dandelion. At first, I was shocked, then offended. But then I thought a dandelion can grow from almost anything. In my hometown, they stretch for fields and fields without hindrance. But the real miracle of them is how they grow when they're not supposed to. We pave our streets and lay down concrete for miles upon and attempt to stomp out anything green and thriving. We seek to remove nature from our lives completely as we return to the office. We drive and ride around through prisons of society that seek to displace us further. But even here, we found them, sprouting from the cracks in the sidewalk, from the sides of our buildings where the smallest amount of dirt is exposed. They slowly grow, but then they thrive whenever they're planted. A dandelion can grow just about anywhere because it doesn't need much to thrive: sunlight, water, and just enough ground to shoot itself up to the sky. It is as flexible, it's flexible, it has a flexible stem that allows it to bend and adjust to the wind. It never breaks. It can it can't be blown away until it decides it's ready. It goes on its own terms and it grows until it's ready to let itself stop. I can see it's a I can see as beautiful as the flower is, I can see something that's overlooked and outcast aside. Something that most people don't appreciate, but I see that it has incredible value. Maybe that's why I relate to it so strongly. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm good at, and I'm overlooked. But they don't realize that you can't stop me. I can grow anywhere. You can try to extinguish me, but I will grow and blossom and bring life into this space that I say I don't belong.
Okay, very nicely done.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. With I can tell you're still a little rough with it because there's a few points where you did kind of stumble over the words, but I know that given time, given practice, I don't expect
Mhm.
that to be an issue at all.
No.
I can get a sense of the energy that you're bringing to this, and what I really love is there's a lot of sweetness to you. There's a lot of joy in what you're saying here, which I think is very special and unique. My big question that I always like to ask people is who do you think you're talking to in this monologue?
If I'm being completely honest, when I was reading over this monologue, I thought about high school. So, just a little bit of a backstory. When I was in high school, I went to performing arts high school. And I don't want to say it was competitive, but everyone wanted that spotlight. So I often was either casted as the side character, and just in the musical theater like group, I genuinely just didn't feel like I fit in. So I'm talking directly to my musical theater teacher, in my opinion, just because I feel like it's something that I always wanted to say. Like, I felt outcasted in high school because of favoritism, because of people fighting for the spotlight, because of competition. And you kind of allowed it. So I'm talking to the theater teachers and the group of kids that I used to hang out with that I don't even hang out with anymore because we just grown apart. But that's truly who I'm talking to. Like, just reminiscing on that
Okay,
outcasting.
I like that. I really think that that's a perfect person to direct this to. What I want you to do is I want
Mhm.
you to choose. Is there one specific person who maybe hurt you, or is there one specific person who uh, you feel you have something maybe unresolved with, or you don't have to name names. Obviously, I don't want you. This isn't a bad mouthing piece here by any means. But
Mhm.
what I'm getting at here is I feel like by taking that idea of you grew up as someone who was overlooked or who was hurt or who
Mhm.
was in this musical theater world, someone who got passed over, and that can sometimes hurt more than knowing other things. So if you can choose a specific person, I think that would help to anchor this monologue in terms of like, uh, when you're talking about this, it really sounds like you are the dandelion. I know it kind of goes without saying, but this is you. You're talking about yourself and your experiences and your lived in everything. So by having it here, by saying things like they grow slowly, but they thrive wherever they're planted. Obviously, you're saying I may not have been there then, but
But I'm here
I've
now.
yeah, and I've thrived and
Hmm.
I've done it and I've done the work and I'm here and I'm succeeding.
Yep.
That is a good anchor to have throughout this piece. I think that there's a lot here that we can explore and
Hmm.
do with that. And yeah, I think you have a really great sense of who you need to address. Now, I think we just need to find those layers in it where you
Hmm.
can really sink in and be like, I was hurt. I was damaged. You thought I was damaged, but really, I grew on my own time. I did my own thing. And I'm coming back to tell you you're wrong. I'm coming back to tell you uh I did something. There's so many options. And I think when you get specific, that will be where this piece kind of shines. Does that
Yeah.
make
No.
sense?
Yeah. No. I totally agree. Totally agree. I'm just taking it all in.
Well, by all means, uh, feel free to uh, look at this and kind of let it sink in, have some time, and yeah, there's so many layers here that are gonna
Yeah.
really you're gonna really beautifully shine with this piece. So I
Thank
really think
you.
that you
I
can kind of
appreciate you giving it to me.
yeah. Well, I really want you to sit in and feel the power that comes with this because whenever there's something where anytime anyone on stage is taking a long amount of time to discuss something that doesn't seem relevant, it's always super relevant because it's put in there for a reason. So with this piece, why are we talking about flowers? Well, because I'm the flower. I
Right.
was hurt. This is how I grew out of it. And coming from this, uh, if you were because you're approaching this to someone who was an authority figure at one
Hmm.
Ooh, sorry. Because you're approaching this as someone who was an authority figure, you're going to come at this with a very different energy than if you were coming at this from someone who was like a child going through this right now.
Hmm.
So, yeah, uh, you coming at this with that kind of not retribution, but the idea of I always say that the strongest emotion you can pull from is hope and love. Those are
Yes.
the two pieces that you can make anything about. So
Hmm.
the love in this piece is the love of yourself.
Right.
And by loving yourself, you've grown, you've become powerful. So you're not telling this person to screw off. You're saying, look what I've done. Look what I've made of myself, despite you, not to spite you, but despite you.
Despite right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I still have tons of love for that person that I'm thinking about. Truly do. It's just if I could say something, this would what it would be
Yeah.
in this type of form.
Well, I think the line that kind of most encapsulates that is something that most people don't appreciate, but I see has incredible value, or
Yes.
that I know has incredible value. Whatever ends up coming out all night. I always tell people if my monologues might be about like 30% actual my words and everything else is flim flam. So just, do if the words aren't perfect or exactly as they are, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna out you. I'm not gonna stress you out about it. I just want to make sure that your performance is as solid and as accurate and true to you as we can get it.
Yeah. No, totally. Definitely understand that. And it will be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the monologue a little bit more, think about it even more deeply than I have been over the past week.
Yeah.
Um, and just
There is also a lot of humor in this, where it's just like
yes.
this at the beginning where you're just like I did a flower horoscope and they told me I was a dandelion. Uh, you can have a reaction there because it's just like it would be like I took a quiz and found out which president I am, and it turns out I'm Trump. Like you can
Yeah.
have that moment of being like,
What? Yeah.
yeah, you can have those moments. You can really, because you literally say it. It just at first I was shocked and then offended. So you know, there's a lot
Mhm.
you can do there. And then you thought about it, and then it comes into
It's
warmth because
right.
yeah.
Right. No, I definitely agree. And I was as I was reading it, I'm like, nope, I can definitely see where to play, where to not play, where to be serious, where to not be serious. So it's yeah, it's a really good monologue.
I'm not fishing for compliments, but
Oh
that's totally fine. I thank you so much. I really appreciate
yeah.
it.
Thank you for allowing me to play with your words. I truly
Hey,
appreciate it.
you're doing them total justice, and you're gonna do a great job. So I can't wait to see uh where this goes next.
Yes, totally. Super
Uh,
excited.
do you have any questions about the piece, or is there anything that you're concerned about with it?
Um, at the moment, no.
Okay.
At the moment, no.
At the
Mm-mm.
moment,
If
no.
questions do arrive, I will definitely let you know. But at the moment, I think I just need to let this marinate in my head and practice it more, and have a definitive person that I'm talking to.
Yeah, I think that's going to help you out a lot. I think you're going to have a great
Mm-hmm.
time with that. The other thing I like to tell people is that with monologues, especially, you can take as long as you want.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the audience is there with you, they'll stay with you.
Okay.
When you're being too indulgent, then we tell you it's just like, okay, move along. But you're not having that problem. You're going very you're a little quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so just taking that moment to really let the words settle in and trust what you're saying. So
Mm-hmm.
people will be enraptured with you just by you standing up on stage and you soaking in that energy and you really feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to make them wait. Don't be afraid to, once you leave the stage, you're gone. So enjoy while you're there because
Yeah.
it could be
Ooh.
the only time you're on that stage.
Okay. Yes. No, I will definitely do that. Yes.
For
That
sure.
was that was a really good quote. You should write that down.
I mean, watch enough of these and I'm sure they'll all come back up. I only have like 5 different things that I pull from, but no, we're good. No, really good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I truly do.
Yeah, so feel free to dig into the text. Next
Mhm.
time, just breathe. Don't worry if you feel like it's going if you're dragging a little bit, let it drag, let it breathe, don't be afraid. One of the best things you can do is just get on stage and go, because then everyone on the in the theater and the audience will go, "Oh, we should be breathing. We're breathing right now." So, yeah.
All right. Sounds good, Maddie. Thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate it. I
Oh.
don't know how many times I've said
Well, it's
that.
great to have you on board and I can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you
Uh
so much. Mhm.
for our listeners, can they find you anywhere? Is there anything that you would like to share with them to tell them to go see to support you?
Yeah, well, right now you're the only project I'm doing. So come out and support us during our monologue cabaret. And if you like to follow my life story on Instagram, it's at Christina underscore Andrea underscore.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much,
Mhm.
and I will see you very soon.
Yes, you will. Have a good